Hello everybody, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the day pillars, and I'm going to start with Yang Wood. And there are some practitioners, especially maybe some very new ones, who might just use this to describe and predict a person's life. Now, I'm sure that there are no masters that only use this, but I'm sure that there are masters who do use this as part of a larger analysis, but that I'm sure they don't just use this. Now, how correct this particular thing is remains to be seen for me, because I don't really, let's say, really know people well enough people that I actually know what their Batsa is to be able to say anything. So you can judge this for yourself. After I get all of these 10 day pillar, actually 60 in total, pillars out there, I'm going to put up a questionnaire and see how correct you think it is for yourself. Because I'm really quite curious. Because to me, it really depends on what your whole chart is, not just your day master, your day pillar, of who you are. And of course, still, even if it was accurate, it's still only 1/3 your life. So, what affects your life. So, I really kind of doubt this will do a fantastic job. Now you can see a fuller description of every single one of these day pillars at this website. It is a Chinese language website. It translates decently into English. There's still some questionable sectors, which of course I ask my husband what they mean, and half the time he's going, well, this is a little weird. So, but when he explains it to me, I know enough to understand what's going on. Now, what is being investigated here has absolutely nothing to do with the strength of the Daymaster, at least not directly. The strength depends on the season of birth and the overall elemental balance in your chart. Now, your day pillar does have some hidden stems, and that does contribute, but it can be at most 1/4 of the contribution of the elements, at most. Actually 1/8. So this is not going to make a big, it has some effect, but it's not major. You can think of more of this as like support for the day master. And it has to do with the relationship, of course, between the heaven stem and the earthly branches. And it has to do with the hidden stems in the earthly branches. So we start with wood rat. This is water. Water produces wood, and this is the only hidden stem for a rat. And this is DR. It's Ten God. And so it's a resource for the wood. And so, and we do have a thing, if it's green, it's a growth relationship. If it's red, it's controlling. So this is a growth relationship. And what is said, summarizing the relatively long thing in the Chinese website, basically this person is really well suited to become powerful and wealthy. Everything, their day master is being supported, so things tend to go easier for them. However, they may not have the best marriages. But I will say this: when this comes from the ancient text, and this is where this web page I referenced earlier gets its information. Back then, people most of the time had arranged marriages. So you will see a lot of them here will say that the marriages aren't good. I think it's because they were arranged. I don't think you should put too much weight on this. You have to keep that in mind. Now, sometimes they give some really specific things, and so I've broken it down into 3 or 4 major parts and then possibly notes. Here it says these people tend to be tall and healthy. It makes a little sense. This is water. It's like rainfall. If a tree gets enough water, it's going to grow very tall and it'll be healthy. So that may be why they say that. They tend to have a kind and gentle personality, which is, well, you can see trees nurture a lot of things. So I guess that's where it comes from. Their wealth is good, maybe even very good. And uh, as I said, they say the marriage is unfavorable, but take it with a grain of salt. But they're also very smart. So this is why these people are so well suited to really go far in life, because they've got pretty much everything going for them. Of course, this day master could be weak. We don't know whatever else is in the chart. So this is why I say this is only one piece, and it may only really work for a strong day master. It doesn't really say. Uh, but this is why I want people to give me their opinion when they find their particular day pillar and see if it makes sense. So this second one is a wood tiger. Now we have three. The tiger has three things. It has one main chi and two sub chis. This is the friend, same element, and so it's a supportive type thing. This gives the person roots. And then it has two pieces of energy. One is a growth going out, and the other is a control going out. They both tend to weaken this guy. So what is said, to summarize it, is they have a strong ability to make money, probably because they're rooted, but they also tend to help others and lose most of it. It also says they have poor literary talents, so they're not likely to write a book, but back in ancient China, that was an important thing. Not so much anymore. The day master is strongly rooted, and when you have strong roots, it gives you a strong sense of self and also a strong sense of what is right and wrong. So these people are not easily swayed to do something that they know is wrong. I mean, under extreme circumstances, of course, everybody could do it, but it takes an extreme circumstance. So they say these people are physically strong. They tend to have a very determined personality, which is why they can earn money when they want to or when they need to. Wealth kind of comes and goes. And it's not terribly consistent, and that's because they're helping others, and they don't always get their money back. They say they're unlucky in marriage. They don't really go into detail what that means, but again, remember this is in a time when people had mostly arranged marriage, so their parents unluckily chose a not so good marriage partner. And again, one particular note was poor literary skills. Don't know why, but that's what they say. Now this is the wood dragon. It has a minor root because it's a different polarity, and it's also a sub chi, not the main chi, but it has some growth and some control. So it's fairly mixed. It's not terribly bad though. In general, it's probably a little bit more supported than it is weakened. Now, for whatever reason, they say these people typically had a difficult childhood. They might grow up poor. Maybe they were orphaned. I mean, anything that makes childhood not so ideal. But the second half of the life is abundant and it's safe. Although they might not feel this because of the trauma of their childhood. So they may never feel like they have enough, but they tend to be okay. Now they don't always have everything listed. Here there's nothing noted physically, so this is basically a person with average strength, average height, nothing that stands out. They tend to be hardworking, usually because they had to be, because they had a difficult childhood. They tend to have the wealth later in life, but they have an unharmonious marriage for whatever reason, probably because it was arranged. But and then there's no other extra notes. This is the wood horse. It does not have roots. and the energy is basically going out. One is growth, one is control. They have a strong tendency to take care of others more than they take care of themselves. That is this outward energy. Unfortunately, apparently this kindness is not repaid, or maybe it can't be repaid because of the circumstances. But I would say they will gain a lot of karma here because they help so many people. Now, if you believe in reincarnation, their next life should be better. Actually, quite a bit better. Now, physically, they're strong. I mean, it's a horse. Most horses are strong. They have a giving personality. They have wealth when they're a child. That is, their parents are pretty well off, but perhaps because they keep helping others, that money goes away as the older and older they get. They say the marriage is unfavorable. Again, if it's arranged, that's understandable. And no other specific notes. So if there's a dash there, it just means there's nothing outstanding. So here is the wood monkey. And this also has no roots, and it is rather complicated. We have, but basically it's weakening all of this except for this one growth. But this is being controlled, this is controlling something that both weakens it. So in general, this is a bit weaker. And overall, life is not easy, but work is always available. And so that means that they're not going to starve. They also tend to get recognized for their contributions. Unfortunately, it's not usually with wealth, but it's rather with respect. And that's the summary of that much longer thing in the Chinese website. Again, hardworking. Wealth is average. You know, they're not wealthy, but they're also not super poor. And as usual, an unharmonious marriage. Again, don't put too much into that one. This is the wood dog. And this one is even, in some ways, even weaker because it's being controlled, it's controlling, and it's also growing something else. However, for whatever reason, it's not as bad as you might think. Now, they don't have roots, so, but they don't also want to break the law or do something wrong. So this means they cling to rules that are written, that they can read. And so they're actually pretty good bureaucrats. They don't get into trouble because they follow the rules, and they're pretty rigid about it. Now, their issue is they're often too honest, and by telling the unvarnished truth, their superiors may not be so happy because if the superior screws up, they will tell them, and that doesn't help them get promoted. So this is why financially they don't tend to be super wealthy. But physically they're strong. They're very honest people. They're upright, and they follow the rules. I mean, they're quite rigid about that. Their wealth is okay. It's kind of average. Again, don't worry about this. I don't know how realistic this is because most of them were arranged. And this is their problems. They're too honest, and so they tend to offend people. And this is why they don't really have a lot of growth in their career. So this is it for the wood, the yang wood animals, or yang wood day pillars. So there's of course 6 of them, and I'll go on, and again, I am going to, after I get all of these posted, I'm going to put up a little survey, and I would like to just know what you think about the quality of the predictions is. Now remember, this only applies to your day pillar. I have no vested interest in the outcome of the poll. I don't do Vatsa, so I don't care. I just want to know what you think and how accurate it is, because it seems a little too simplistic. So thanks again for watching.